800 million jobs are going to be lost by 2030 due to automation, robotics, and artificial intelligence. That's according to McKinsey Global Institute. 800 million jobs worldwide. That's 20% of the global workforce. We need to really start thinking about that because 2030 is 9 years away. And if I look in the analytics of this channel, most people who subscribe to this channel are not going to be of retirement age by 2030. All right. So what jobs are going to be eliminated? Let's talk about that. What businesses are going to be affected? Remember, this is a consumer economy. So 800 million jobs lost worldwide is going to definitely have an impact on employment here, but also on small business here. Okay, how's the demand going to look if a sizable portion of the American economy loses jobs? Where's that money going to come from? A lot of people say universal basic income, but how's that going to be funded? Okay, how are we going to get the funding for universal income, universal basic income, if corporations are potentially taking in less profits because there are fewer consumers? Or is the government going to pay it out of the tax revenues? I don't know. We'll talk about it. I want you to think about something as we talk about this topic. Slaves. Slaves don't own their labor. They cannot negotiate rates on their labor because they don't own it. An employee rents his or her labor to a corporation at a discount, and there's only so much negotiation room in terms of a rate for that labor. You can't walk into McDonald's or into AT&T and demand a wage that is higher than that which is prevailing for a particular job in that company. Okay, so that's what I mean by employees. They rent their labor at a discount. Well, if this new paradigm is correct and McKinsey Global is correct, and we're going to lose 20% of the workforce, and guess what? In a lot of cases, your labor will be worthless. You won't even be able to trade for it. It'll be worthless if robots, artificial intelligence systems, and automation are doing the jobs instead. Look, guys, before we get into that, check out behind me here. My neighbor, I'm standing on his property now. He raised the canopy on that tree. So it's a pine tree. He raised the canopy, he took the branches up. And when he did that, he exposed a rabbit hutch. And these rabbits have been running around trying to find a new place to live. And as a result, very interestingly, this has caused a literal infestation of red-tailed hawks on this property. Okay? They are out in force. They are making their presence known. And they have chased away all of the colorful birds like cardinals and blue jays. Haven't seen them in weeks now. He topped that off a couple of weeks ago. So just an example of a little change in an ecological system and how it creates larger change. So when we look at this economy, we always got to say, well, something happened over here, but it can create greater waves over here. Like we don't see these cardinals and blue jays right now because the hawks are here, because this rabbit hutch was exposed. So you always got to think down the road. What is your move, or what are these moves in the economy? What moves are they going to precipitate? What's the cascade effect? Okay, so what are these jobs that are going to be lost to automation? Let me give you one industry, law enforcement. Okay, we already know that we've got cameras out there that will enforce speed limits, that will enforce red light traffic rules. But now we're going to start to see robots, artificial intelligence, and automation creep further into the law enforcement side of our society. And how are we going to see it? Well, check out what Singapore is doing. Singapore has taken one of the Boston Dynamics robots, the one that looks like a little dog, and they have put that robot out there enforcing social distancing rules. Okay? So we're seeing that start to come into society where people are going to be made more and more comfortable. I don't know if comfortable is the word I want to use, but they're going to be inculcated into understanding that robots enforce the law. Okay? You've even got Japan. They've got a different robot that's doing the same thing, enforcing social distancing rules. Okay? So, I don't know if you remember that old movie RoboCop, the first one, the real one, the good one, where they had the enforcement robot and they were experimenting with all types of ways to have robots enforce the law. Well, hey man, brave new world. We're headed down into that frontier. Of course, we got factory workers. We're already seeing factory workers and how they are being replaced by robots more and more and more. Okay. Administrative jobs. Even some surgeons. Do you know there are robots out there doing surgery right now? Okay. Those things are only going to be perfected. And you might say, well, I don't want a robot doing surgery on me. Well, from what I understand, robots are a lot more adept at making precision incisions. Okay? If it's better for me health-wise, why wouldn't I opt for that? I don't know. But we will be made more and more comfortable with that. Okay? And we will see more and more of these types of systems replace human beings. All right? Artificial intelligence is going to be more and more embedded within your car. We've got a friend who she owns a Tesla, and she let the Tesla drive her to Maryland's Eastern Shore across the 3 Mile Bay Bridge. That was a ballsy move. I don't know if I would have been brave enough to allow the car to do that. But she did. She arrived safely. No problems whatsoever. And we're just at the beginning edges of that technology. Imagine how it's going to look 9 years from now. Okay? The whole society is changing with regard to how we think about a lot of things. We're not going to go into it deep right now, but I can assure you that the whole relationship we have with the car is changing. Will we even need to own a car? Or will we just have a car as a service? So when we need it, we order it, we go wherever the hell we're going, and then we forget about it until we need to go back in the other direction. Okay? That's what's going on. Now, let me say a word about how you insulate yourself here. It's not just saying, hey, I own a business. Because a lot of business owners, we've already seen them put out of business by the events of 2020. We're going to see that happen even more when you talk about how artificial intelligence, robotics, and automation is embedded into this society. You're going to see a lot of businesses go the way of the dodo bird. They're going to go extinct because they're in industries that don't require humans anymore. So to the extent, I know a lot of folks that are truck drivers, for example, to the extent that you can upgrade your fleet and make it compliant with all the environmental rules, and also upgrade your fleet to automated trucking. You're going to have to do that at some point, because once these automated trucks get on the road, you're not going to be able to hire human drivers and compete with the companies that offer automated trucking, because your prices are going to be way outside of what the going rates are, because that labor cost will be eliminated for those operators who are running automated fleets. Okay? I'll tell you another industry, car repair. When you talk about an independent auto mechanic shop, there right now, 99.99% of them are working on the internal combustion engine. To the extent that they can upgrade their equipment and upgrade their skill set to understand these electric cars, they will survive. If they cannot do that, then as the electric car becomes more and more ubiquitous, then these shops will go by the wayside if they cannot upgrade their skill set, upgrade their equipment to understand what is on the road. All right? So that's what we've got going on right now. Let me say this last thing. We want to talk more about how you start a business. I can't tell you what business to start. You need to look at the tea leaves and understand what is going to be viable 50 years from now. Okay? And then from that, you need to extrapolate what it is you are passionate about doing. But one thing I want to say is, a lot of times people are held back, especially in corporate America, because in corporate America, I saw a lot of people who got a title conferred upon them by a third party, by the corporation. Okay, and they internalized that title. It became a part of their ego. All right. I know my title on my business card was associate director. And a lot of people internalize that: vice president, director, associate director, manager, okay? Meant nothing once you left your office suite. Nothing at all to anybody, all right? The title was a form of compensation, non-monetary compensation, for those whose egos were such that they were wrapped up in feeling a certain way. Positional power, okay? Well, we talk about money on this channel, and if you're going to go out there and start a business and you're employed by someone right now, divorce your ego from that position, okay? Because if you don't, then you're going to resign yourself to trading hours for discounted dollars for the rest of your, working years, your income generating years for the most part. The other thing that's going to hold you back if you have that mindset is it's going to keep you from being able to espouse your business. Let's say you go into something that is deemed less than what you are currently doing now for corporate America. Then if your ego is attached to that title, that positional power that is only inferred upon you by this company that you don't own, then you're going to be in a precarious spot, because you're not going to be able to do what's necessary to really espouse your business and what you do. Your ego won't let you. So if you're suffering from that, thank God I never was. I thank God I never suffered from that. But I know a lot of people who have, and I know a person in particular who could have been wildly successful outside of corporate America, but his ego wouldn't let him. And so what resulted was not good for him financially. In any event, that's enough for today, guys. I will talk to you soon.